Good afternoon, everybody. It is the second advisory board meeting for the Dutch Mentor in preparation for our first cohort, which is starting on September 15th. Thank you and welcome to all of you who were able to attend live. And for those who will be listening at a later time, thank you for your time that you have given to the program up to this point in time. I look forward to working together. The good thing is that since the last time we met, we actually have added several new members. Ronnie Rinat is one new advisory board member, as well as Stephanie Meyer. And so welcome on board and thank you for joining the team. Look forward to doing great things in the future with you as well. We luckily only lost one person, but she decided that she did not have the time to dedicate to the program itself that she thought it was necessary. And I'm, of course, very respectful of that. And again, we will continue to look for people who can be contributors, who can be mentors to the program. So if you know anybody who wants to really eagerly participate, we're certainly always open to join and to open the doors and have others join along the way. You know, at the end of the day, we would like to create and develop a community of healthcare leaders who are there to coach and support each other for a better tomorrow. The two topics that I want to address is that we have 11 seats out of the 25 seats filled. Thank you to Maura Porcola from Montefiore Health Systems, Wakefield, and for Tracy Freitag from the Northwell division for having sponsored those seats through their foundations and other means. So I'm very grateful for that. It leaves us with 14 seats to fill between now and the September 15th deadline. Really, I would say the week before September 9th should be the last day that people can sign up for it. As we all know, people tend to sign up and react to these things last minute. So there are really two asks that I have of all of the board members that as we are now approaching T-minus 4 weeks to the start of the program, is to take it to a different level of conversation within your own organizations or your own network. And that is not by doing, by spending too much time on this, but really having a targeted audience and trying to share the message. I'm going to send out an email to all of you that I share with all of the ACI fellows in New York of emails that I've collected over time. That as a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives, similar to what Tim and Stephanie and a few others on the call are, it comes with a greater responsibility to continue to nourish and really identify emerging leaders, both on physician, nursing, and other technical staff level, to set them up for success for the future. And that is really the essence of the program, to identify emerging leaders on the different disciplines and bring them to the table for discussion and for development to ensure that they too receive the skills, knowledge, and abilities to be highly effective leaders right out of the gate and don't have to struggle for that first, second, third year and trying to find their own way. And really the two ways of doing that is by giving them the skills and start developing their behaviors and habits in the cohort, and then of course supporting them after the cohort in the community itself, where they feel they have a safety zone of receiving mentorship. So my ask of all of you is to take the message that I'll send to you and put it into your own wording and engage in conversation decision makers. And obviously decision makers in healthcare, two people, is those who lead people and those who have the ability to pay for people to attend some kind of an continuous education. Again, obviously we're talking today about joining our cohort on September 15th. But in the letter, you will see that I strongly encourage all emerging leaders to commit to continuous learning. The cohort is, of course, a really great option for them to join, as well as becoming an HLNY, the Healthcare Leader of New York member, and even start their pursuit of becoming a fellow of the American College of Healthcare Executives or their respective boards. So if you're a paramedic, you should pursue that in your association. As a fireman, you should do it in your association, et cetera, et cetera. It is part of your continuous growth as a leader to be part of a member organization where you have a peer group and where you have thought leaders where you can become part of the conversation. That is what we try to encourage. And I think the letter will state that. So again, the action item I'm asking the advisory board members to do is to take this information and engage your leaders in conversation to encourage people to attend the cohort in September. The price at $2,500, as I've run by, is very low in comparison to what value they will get out of it. Right? It's at 7.5 hours of one-to-one coaching. It's over 22 hours of didactic and theory based, shared, classroom time on Wednesdays from 4:30 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the roundtable discussion and all of the other free materials that are available to them, including potential mentorship time with any one of you. So again, take that as an action item and try to get people to commit. And again, the difference between engaging is to get people to have a conversation. The commitment is to actually to do. We all know that to do is difficult, and people are procrastinators, or tend to be procrastinators. And again, part of being a servant leader and those types of leadership, the leaders that we want to develop, is those who take action. So they make the commitment, they follow through. To make it as easy as possible to the attendees. And again, this is not, I've said from day one, this is not about money. This is more about development, but obviously there's a cost associated. I've clearly stated that there's a 100% money back guarantee. If people are not satisfied, they will get their money back. I'm confident that they will get more than their value out of it, and they will not be asking for that, but be more than happy to put that, that on the line as a service guarantee. Number two is that if there's a payment option necessary, no worries. Get a name and a commitment, and then I will worry with them about invoicing now or later or even after the fact. Not worried about that stuff. It's more about getting the right number of people in the cohort itself, because the power comes not only from learning from the materials, but really from the conversation between the different disciplines as you move forward. So that's really the focus, is to get enough people into the course, 20 to 25, that the power is not only from the 5 subject areas, but also from what they can learn from each other. Any questions on the action item to try to recruit the additional 14 seats? All right. If not, the second part the request is that we obviously have lots of people with very different backgrounds on the call today and on the advisory board, and that was done by design. The keys to success request that I had sent out, that everybody would have an opportunity sometime during the year. It doesn't have to be now. It can be in March if you have more time at that point, to join me on a call for 10, 15 minutes and videotape your keys to success. Well, what did you do? What steps did you take? What insights are you able to share that allowed you to climb that proverbial career ladder? So we're looking for that. You can send me a simple email whenever the time is convenient to, between now and let's say April of next year. And I will remind you of that on occasion. The more important part of the cohort is the roundtable discussion. This is where each of you have an opportunity to bring something to the table that you feel greatly passionate about. And that could include, if you are, in your own business and you say, listen, I feel very passionate about bringing this to the table as an open discussion. Again, we try not to commercialize the conversations we have, but you can certainly speak about what it is that you do, what it is that you want to, you can bring to the table, and how that furthers the development of the leadership style that we are trying to promote, right? Servant leadership style, and the areas of gaps that we have identified. It happened to be Errol, I see on my screen here. Him and I had a good conversation this week around, the need for, people to develop themselves and having a resume that tells a story. And we talked a little bit about having diversity and equality and other topics that need to be broached. But again, I encourage you to select a topic of your choosing, something you feel deeply passionate about, to bring that to the table. So with that said, I will send out a calendar for those 15 weeks. I've not yet decided, and I would love to hear from you on what day of the week is best to do these. So we have some consistency. We have already selected a cohort to be done on Wednesdays from 4:30 to 6 o'clock. Is it better to do it on a Monday? Is it better to do it on a Thursday or Friday? Again, the sessions will be recorded and they will be shared with the rest of the cohort. And that's part of the continuous learning cycle going forward. Any questions on that ask?
Yeah, Walter, I have just want to say that it sounds like a really great idea, and just want to do a clarifying point or clarifying question. It sounds like you're saying we can choose one or as many topics as we want for to be a part of like the 15 weeks, but it doesn't mean we have to do it for 15 weeks. We could just choose one topic.
That's correct. You can pick a topic of your choosing. Of course, we'll hope that we don't have 15 of the same topics, but I'm pretty confident that'll be the case. Yeah. And again, the ask is of the advisory board to, if you can commit to one, that'd be awesome. I know that Errol has said that he'd probably like to commit to two of them as facilitating the conversation. If you can participate, great. If you can't, then that's okay too, right? I don't want to fill your calendar and ask you for more than you can give. But it is, I think, important that if you have an opportunity to share what you feel passionate about, I think that the roundtable is a perfect setting for that.
Yeah, and just to like double up on that, I chose two topics or brainstorming two topics that I can speak about in my sleep, right? So it doesn't feel like it's a heavy pull. Something that I'm passionate about, because I know that if I'm excited about it and I'm passionate about it and I'm feeling good about it, that energy is going to translate across. And who knows, we may even run over the time, but I hope not, right? That's my, I guess, thought process for why I chose what I chose.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that Dave Dessner and I have spoken about, even though he will be, doing some coaching and mentoring on the firefighter side, but he's deeply passionate about meditation and burnout amongst healthcare providers. So that will be a topic of his interest. I know that Tammy Alvarez will be speaking about women in leadership and transition. So I think that, again, looking at the list of names here, there's a lot of deep knowledge and background that I have no doubt that it would be pretty easy to find topics to talk about and for people to select something. All right. So with that said, I think that I have peppered, LinkedIn and my key contacts with information around the cohort. So that there's definitely some knowledge sharing, and there should be people should be familiar with it, or at least have heard about it. So the two takeaways for today is that lead a conversation in your own organization or your personal network around the topic of leadership development, utilizing tuition reimbursement or funds that are available through the hospital foundations for development itself. It's a perfect funding source, and it is heavily underutilized. It's 75% of the reimbursement dollars that are available to leaders are not utilized, and that's a real shame, right? That's a leader's responsibility to get people to be activated and utilize these dollars for education that enhances their careers and their skills, knowledge, and abilities. And then the second action, to be on the watch out for an email to sign up for a roundtable discussion that you can lead. And of course, you'll be more than welcome to participate or listen in on a weekly basis during the cohort itself, and then to actively participate in the community board or the discussion boards on a weekly basis. But we'll talk a little bit more once we get the cohort underway. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?
I got one.
Sure.
In terms of who we're looking at to recruit, is it kind of open in terms of national versus New York State? Is this can be attended by anybody in the country?
And worldwide, anybody is because it's a virtual-based program. Both every Wednesday will be virtual-based, and then all of the coaching will be done one-to-one via telephone. So we're not bound to any location. Again, my initial wave of cohort number 1, 2, 3, we felt it was, we keep it intimate, close to the New York metropolitan area, but anybody is welcome. And again, the cost point, we kept it very low in the first 3 cohorts to get a foothold and get people to see what it is that we're trying to accomplish and the value to them. And then obviously cohort number 4, 2022, we'll have to make some changes to the program cost at that point in time. But I'm confident again that as we progress to cohort number 1, 2, and 3, that the value will become very apparent to those who are participating, and as well as the roles of the coaches and mentors in the program. Those who are on the advisory board today.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, David. Okay, anybody else have any other questions? If not, then I'd be more than happy to give you 10 minutes back of your time. We're trying to be as efficient. I am deeply grateful for all of you for your participation, for your dialogue, and for your insights. I will be giving all of you access to the Thinkific platform, probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks once most of it is completed. Again, it is a landing page of information, and there's obviously some slides. As we progress through the cohort, more information will be added to that. It's meant to be a live series supported by some documentation in the background, and we will all be participating and adding value to the program as the cohort progresses. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. You have my telephone number, my email address, and I'll try to make myself available on short notice. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the weather. And I'm going off to celebrate my oldest daughter's wedding this weekend. So I'm going to actually be offline for probably about 24 to 48 hours, concentrating and focusing on what is important, which is family. And I hope you get to do the same thing. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Thanks, Walter.
Yeah, thank you, Rahel.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.